What's going on, Raider Nation? The Raiders pulled it off with some ridiculous type of win. I know I'm recording this hours after the game, so my raw emotion is not with me. But I was pissed off, like anyone else. I mean, that's one that's you're gonna pull your hair, get angry, punch a wall, whatever it is. This was one of those types of games. So before I say anything good, I'll say the bad first. The bad, of course, was the penalties. You all know that. You all know exactly what happened, and really, when I look back at those penalties, a lot of those were the right call. I would maybe say one or two might have been soft, but a lot of that there was really no complaints. So I thought Carl Joseph could have gotten flagged on that one hit on special teams. So yeah, the discipline was embarrassing. That was bad. That was hard to watch, and as a result, I had to wait for every play to finish and count to like 5 to make sure there was no yellow on the field. I mean, that was ugly and scary and all that. But they pulled it off. That was also the other thing I'll point out. First half, the entire first half was terrible. I mean, Jameis was clicking. First quarter, they looked like they were going to score at will, and then the Raiders, with the exception of the one play to Olawale, there was nothing on offense. Derek Carr looked really human in the first half. That was terrible to watch. I remember, I think Olawale got him to the goal line or the 3-yard line or something, and then some penalties knocked him back, and it became a field goal. I mean, terrible. That was very hard to watch, first half. So the best part about it was that they're only down by 7 because Tampa didn't pull away, and they let the Raiders hang around. So then went to the positives, the second half. Whole second half adjustments. It came right out of the gate, and they tied the game with a touchdown. Really big plays. Big plays in the second half, and that third quarter they looked pretty invincible. And then the penalties came back in the fourth quarter and overtime. We all know how that worked out, but third quarter was really good to watch. The scoring was there, and the penalties were very small. I don't think they even happened during the drive. Now Donald Penn gets a touchdown against his former team, so that's even nicer. Yeah, I think that's like his 4th career touchdown. He's got a few of those, I know, with Derek Carr throwing to him. So congrats there. Yeah, really, the other positive, Amari Cooper and Derek Carr. We all know, I can cite Derek Carr's number is all we want, but watching the tape, he made some really important throws this time around. I was impressed with him. There was that tight window throw to Michael Rivera he had to make. He was on second half. After the first half, he was on in the second half. There was probably even more stats he could have had if it weren't for these penalties that negated stuff. It was an awful amount of penalties, and we all know what that was. But I really liked what I saw from Derek Carr today and company once the second half came about. So, I think we were all on the fire Musgrave train in the first half, and then the second half they all looked like a bunch of geniuses. Whatever they were adjusting to, it worked. Tampa's defense is kind of skeptical anyways, but still. Derek Carr, he was impressive, and it was really sloppy, the whole thing. I mean, Janikowski missed from 50 earlier, and he missed from 50-something again. I'm not going to fault him for that. Really, I thought Amari Cooper's drop was the one that hurt, but like anything, they don't get to overtime without Amari Cooper. He made a lot of big plays today, and it showed why he was the first receiver taken off the board. Yeah, Janikowski's misses kind of sucked, but he was kicking into the wind, and I'm not going to fault that, so I'm not going to be angry at the kicker. Really, the overtime was sloppy. This could have been a draw the way it was going. We already had a tie earlier today in the NFL. Yeah, that was ugly. They were passing, they were getting big plays, and then it's like, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. They did not advance because of penalties, whether it was holding, false starts, all those penalties you can add up on. I hated seeing that. That was hard to watch. It really was hard to watch, guys. It makes you pull your hair, and it makes you angry, and I was pretty angry watching some of that. But that being said, they went for it on 4th and 4, which was the right call with about 2 minutes to go. And really, yeah, if you punt, you basically are conceding the game, and you're just playing for a draw. So, yeah, you go for the win in that situation. Really good. At least the decision to go for it, and then the throw to Seth Roberts happens. And Tampa somehow doesn't tackle him. That was one of the other big miracles, is nobody tackled him when they should have, and he scores for a walk-off touchdown. Those are always magical. I think about the one where Tim Brown did it in Candlestick Park, if y'all remember that play when Tim Brown walked off. So, yeah, a walk-off touchdown. They played some of their worst football discipline-wise of the season, and they're 6-2. Nothing makes sense. I mean, the defense played all right for the most part outside of the penalties. They played pretty well, but once again, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. This team is 6-2 and is better than being what some of these other teams are, but I still got to see more. Derek Carr proved a lot today, and I liked what I saw. You hope it continues and all that, but he's facing Denver next week. That's going to be a tough game. We know what Denver's defense has done and all that, so that's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy game no matter where it's played at, which I know it's in Oakland this time. So yeah, the Raiders got a lot of work to do, and they know it. They should be disgusted with all the penalties that they had today. But I know, they won. Just Win Baby really lived in this game because they did get the W in one of the ugliest ways possible. But that was a walk-off of walk-offs. So let me know what y'all thought. Yeah, very frustrating game to watch, but I will take it. Obviously, everybody else will too. Derek Carr, though, great game. I'll say it. Derek Carr played a great game. See you all later. Go Raiders.